Like, that's a long time to belong to a group and not see a bunch of people. Welcome.
Welcome. Well, it's what's that thing called? The giver's gain, right?
Oh
And
yeah, the BNI. That's
right.
right.
And then there's also I forget, was it John, not John Maxwell, was it Zig Ziglar who said, to get what you want in your life, help as many people as you can get what they want first,
Help others first.
and then it'll come back to you
I
in
just want to tell you,
some way, shape, or form.
I just want to tell you, I'm working on that conversation we had with Mike the other day.
Right?
I will not let Mike come back to our camera without me being darker than him.
I guess I better get out in the sun too then.
Get out there
Even more.
because
I got a bit of a start. I've been out a few times. I'm sure I'll be out this weekend as well. So
well, sorry, that's just the way my dress is today. It's not a wardrobe malfunction. It's the way it is. So this is my tan here. We're just when you go garden,
yeah,
when you do what we do, by the time you walk around, you come back in, it's like, whoa, when did you have time to tan? I didn't. I was just watering the peppers
right.
we have 12 eggplant plants. I know we're talking about eggplants,
Again.
but today's the day since that thing dropped. Since our thing dropped today. Yeah, so we planted a really cool garden, and you can tell what my favorite vegetable is because I'll take pictures of it later on in the year. You'll come visit. You'll come visit it.
And we'll see them all. And we'll see all those pictures on social media.
I was thinking, I think I will do that. I will do a little garden. I don't want to be that person that says, this is what I ate. And then,
Well, it doesn't have to be that, but hey, check out our garden. We're growing our
Yeah.
own food, that kind of thing, right? So
Yeah, we're sustainable. So let's introduce ourselves real quick in case
Absolutely.
somebody's here for the first
for it.
time. Yeah, Rah is in the house, everyone. My name is Catherine Asaro Myers, and I'm broadcasting to you live today from beautiful sunny Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. And I am here with my awesome old blue-eyed partner, Dr. Energy. Oh, yeah. So, Dr. Energy, where are you at?
I'm right here. I'm right here on the screen. Well, actually, physically, I am in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, our nation's capital region. And it's a beautiful day here. In Celsius, it's about 22, 23 degrees, a nice little breeze blowing in the windows after the last couple of days of 30 plus degrees, humidity. So for our American friends, 30 degrees, that's probably pushing 90, 95, something like that. Plus, we had anywhere from 55, 60% humidity up to 85% humidity the last few days. So it's been pretty freaking warm.
Well, that's what we wanted.
Some of us, when it gets humid like that, like I've said in the past, I just want to go in a corner, crawl up in a corner in the shade and have a nap.
Do you?
Yeah, when it's humid. When dry heat, it can be 30, 32, 35 degrees and dry. Totally okay with that. The humidity, I find it heavy and oppressive, and I just want to go, and it just saps my energy, and I just want to go sleep.
So does that mean we're not going to go to Mexico and have a conversation worth having?
No, Mexico's fine. Just don't want to go into humid times like this time of year, like being in Florida right now would be.
Oh yeah,
the same thing, right? It'd be I couldn't forget it.
my goal before the end of the year is that we stream live from the beach.
That'd be nice. That would be nice.
Just putting it out there. Want to talk about what's going to make me joyful?
Being in Mexico on a beach right now, yeah. I've never been to Mexico, so.
Oh, okay. So then we can put that on the list for us to go there together.
Cool.
Make it a business trip.
I'd like to go to Costa Rica as well. That's the place I really want to go, especially the Pacific coast, because you can go and stay at a yoga ashram and do yoga, and then they do surfing, and then you can go surfing because there's a lot of surfing places on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. So you go surfing in the morning when there's the waves, and then you go and do yoga and sleep and whatever and hang out and just
Okay.
That'd be a great trip. But learn how to surf.
Okay, well, I have a little person in my life who stands on a little surfboard and says, "I'm going surfing," and I'm thinking Hawaii's in their zone. Maybe not Hawaii, but just thinking about all the places, California, West Coast.
Yeah,
Cindy likes the
all those
humidity.
places, yep.
Hi Cindy, thanks for being here. She likes the humidity. Favorite things: foggy days, nights, warm and cozy. Oh, that's good. Yeah, share your favorite moment with us. Share with us what is your joyful, joyous moment. What really gets you warm and fuzzy? Not just warm and humid. Cindy, thank you for sharing this episode, this show on your personal Facebook
Yeah,
and
that's
wherever
awesome.
else you posted it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Hawaii would be an amazing place to surf as well.
Mm. Mhm.
And fog I like, and but it's it's humidity during the middle of the day that ramps the temperature up by 5, 8, 10 degrees. It just fogginess. Like I've been to San Francisco, and that's I've experienced the fog and the clearness of the Pacific. I mean that is beautiful, but humidity in the middle of the day when it makes the temperature go from 30 degrees to 40 plus, forget it. I don't even want to know about it.
I like London fog.
London fog, that's a kind of drink.
It's also a coat. It's
A
also a
coat as
line
well.
of.
I do.
I also like
I actually
London,
have a London fog coat.
right? Probably from years ago, right?
It's probably about 5 years old. It's my winter coat. Yeah.
Oh, welcome, Colleen. Colleen Tripp is here. Round of applause. Look at that. So happy
Yes.
you're
Hello,
here.
Colleen.
Could be summer all year long. Okay, that's awesome. We have another
Uh,
beach baby.
yeah, summer's nice, but I prefer. I like. I really. I'd honestly say I love all the seasons, but I really, really, really enjoy the spring and the fall. Just the change from going from the winter when it's barren, kind of barren and quiet, and everything's slumbering, into the spring when all of a sudden everything starts budding and new life starts coming out. Like that's amazing. And then the fall when you have the opposite and all the riot of color of the trees changing color. Like that's. I got to have a change of seasons. I couldn't live someplace where it was one
Same
season or
all
the
the
other.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Got to have
just don't
some
know
change.
how would you ski in the spring and the fall?
Oh, spring! Oh my God, spring skiing when it's about 5 or 6 degrees to 8 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, even as high as 10, and the sun's coming down. You stop skiing around 1:30, 2 o'clock because the snow gets a little too soft. It gets a little wet, and then you go and sit on the patio and have a drink and just hang out with friends. It's a lot of fun.
All right, sign me up. And you're talking about all the things that are joyful, that make us joyful. So why don't we touch on that subject a little bit? Besides in our workplace, let's just talk about all the things that make us feel happy.
All right.
Want to do that?
Yeah. So when we talking about work, whether you are an entrepreneur and work by yourself, or whether you work in a more of a group, like in a corporate type of a job or an office setting where you have fellow employees. Now, a lot of us are working from home right now. How can you bring more joy into what you do? And how can you create more joy in your workplace? Or how can your employer help create more joy in the workplace? And what is the effect that has on our mindset and how we feel valued and how we feel that we're delivering value in the world?
I'm thinking, how can we help our employer? You either got it or you don't. You're either joyful or you're not. You really can't fake it. If you just have one of those people that you work for, I say focus on your own. Focus on the inner self. Show up joyful, and that will be a big part of how you feel joy. Let's talk about the impact, right? Teams, harmony. The people around us, this is why we say, be around others that lift us up.
Right.
The team has a mindset and feels that they are contributing, and each of us are contributing to being joyful to one another.
Right.
And we can pat each other on the back and support one another. This is why I was just having this conversation this morning with someone who doesn't leave a group. They join groups because they're there, emotional support, lift us up. There are defining moments in our life that some people are there and we just say, I want to stay there because they were there for us. So the impact that a team makes when you're part of a group, like you're part of Toastmasters, I've been part of BNI and part of WOW, and we're part of we're Guilders, part of the Guild. Part of this community here, we lift one another up. So when you feel that camaraderie, you feel that the team is there to cheer you on. This makes an impact. This is important.
Well, it's important, the harmony because every person on a team has different skills. that are stronger than others. And, you know, an analogy for me being a sports guy, right? It's look at Wayne Gretzky, the vision that he had on the ice and his passing ability. Yes, he scored a lot of goals as well, more than pretty much anybody else, but he actually had way more than double the goals in assists. So he was there to make, and he made everybody else around him better. He could find people in places on the ice where other players wouldn't be able to make that pass or have the vision or the foresight to be able to anticipate somebody being in that position. And so that is one of the things that harmony does. It lifts, you know, they say that a rising tide makes all boats rise. And it's true. If we can help make others around us better by supporting them and amplifying their strengths in connection or in harmony with our own strengths, that's going to lift everybody up, and then the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
And when we're talking about team, let's talk about, this is also one of the core values of some of the famous groups that we're talking about, acknowledgement.
Yes.
You know, how do you feel when you do something really amazing? And as soon as you do it, timing, right? Someone goes and says, "That was awesome, Dr. Energy. Look what you did. You did this specific act. You took this action, and that got us this," whether it was a point or a new member, or Cindy, thank you for sharing this post on social media.
Right.
As soon as someone does something, this acknowledgement is part of a team recognition. Let us know how it makes you feel, because I know it makes us feel great. So we'll say that great coaches can give specific instructions. And when you immediately recognize someone, you acknowledge someone, then others sometimes want to be just like them.
Right. And we see this all the time in sports, right? Right after a goal is scored in soccer or in hockey or basketball, not so much in basketball because the baskets happen so frequently, but especially in hockey and soccer, baseball, right? Guy hits a home run, he comes back in, they're all doing the high fives, fist bumps, et cetera, et cetera. Hockey, everybody congregates in the corners celebrating after a touchdown. They have all these dances and celebrations that they do. And you'll see the person who actually scored, especially when the person who made it possible for them to score made an incredible play, they'll point back at them saying, like, and celebrating that person's role in the fact that they were able to score. And this creates that connection, you know, and it can help lift teams to heights that previously might not be attainable. Like, we would have looked back and go, like, how the heck did that happen? Now, I'm going to give a perfect example. Now, I know some people are going to get upset when I say this. Being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and the fact that the Montreal Canadiens knocked out the Leafs out of the playoffs, that's got nothing to do with it. But you know, not even the most ardent Montreal Canadiens fan could say that they have more talent than the Toronto Maple Leafs did or the Winnipeg Jets. Now, did they come together as a team and use all of their skills together, and especially a world-class goaltender that they could lean on who has a specific set of skills that makes the team in front of him better? Absolutely. And did they play a much better team game than either the two teams that they've knocked out of the playoffs already? Absolutely. And that is sometimes what happens, is that all of a sudden everybody starts buying into the same idea, pulling on the rope in the same direction. They put aside some of the personal glory and personal goals and sacrifice, as it were, for the team, so that the team can succeed and they can get to the ultimate prize, which in this case would be the Stanley Cup, which many people consider to be the hardest championship to win in sports because of the number of games and that you have to play in order to win it.
And there is a passionate speech by our Dr. Energy. Believe in oneself. That's right. Believe in ourself. Believe in what you do. Believe in what your company stands for, that you are valuable, so that you can stand up for yourself and others can stand up for you as well.
Right. And when we feel joy and choose to feel joy in the workplace or in our entrepreneurship or whatever we're doing in our life, we tend to have a better understanding and appreciation of our role in our life, in our business, in our job. We tend to build stronger bonds with people around us. We tend to feel that our talents are being utilized effectively, and that we have an important and critical role to play for the team that will lead to success. So when we can find that joy, and goes all the way back to, Catherine, you and I talk about all the time, relationship building. When we build those relationships with others, it's easier to find the joy because we can find common points of connection that we all enjoy, that, knowing what's important to somebody else and how we can bring joy to them in a moment. So
let's talk about building. Yeah, let's talk about building relationships for a moment. Some people are really good at it, right? They're likable, they're pliable, they're adaptable. And then some people are rigid and they can't necessarily go into a situation and read it and negotiate around it. Regardless, building a relationship is work. Even if you are a natural converser, even if you do like people, it's still work. There are 24 hours in the day. We all have the same 24 hours, and how you choose to devote your time to people. Sometimes we refer to it as hand holding. Sometimes it's relationship building. Sometimes it's discovering what you like about yourself or learning our own limits. I learned that I have a very high threshold for things, and I have a lot of patience. That being said, there are some things with myself that I do not have a lot of patience for.
Right.
I'm extremely hard on myself, but building a relationship, not with myself, with others. I was talking about this with Colleen, actually. It's something that you either do, or you don't do. You are innately capable of understanding processes with people,
right,
or you have to work hard at it. And if you do something where you're in alignment, you won't be tired. If you do something that is within your co-native wheelhouse, then you will be energized by it. But if you don't like a lot of conversation and you're building relationships in a way that you just feel like it's just too much, I need a BREAK, then you're out of alignment.
Right.
So build the relationships the way that make the most sense for you.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Work, we've talked about this before at a party. The extroverts, they're going to be the ones that jumping around from conversation to conversation and have a big group around them and wanting to be part of a big group. Whereas the more introverted people are going to be the ones, there'll be 2 or 3 people or 4 people sitting on a couch, the whole party, just having a deeper conversation. And the extroverts are usually trying to draw the introverts into the bigger conversations. The introverts are like, no, just you guys go over there. We're having a great conversation over here. And that's building a relationship in a different way. And I think one of the things that many extroverts tend to overlook, and I know I did this for a long time, is because it's easy for us to converse and to be in the middle of a crowd and want to be in the middle of a crowd, we often don't slow down sometimes to pay attention to what people are saying and go deeper with the conversation. And this is something that I've learned for over many, many years, and it took me a long time to really be comfortable with, because it was a stretch for me to learn how to do that. And it changed things a lot in my life. And just to be clear as well, it's not anybody else's responsibility in any relationship to be responsible for your joy, your happiness, anything like that. That's all on you, as Colleen said.
As Colleen has very clearly stated that. Great point, Colleen. Let's talk about joy right now with what we're doing. You and I are speaking to an audience that can type to us, or an audience where we have secret agents.
Watching, we don't know that they're there.
Watching, and thank you for watching and being with us at 2 or 3 in the morning and not necessarily being here live. The joy that we get in hearing back from people, whether it's in the moment or whether it's later, whether it's constructive or it's an accolade, or even if it's a growth point, we are open to that. We're happy to hear from you. So the joy that we get in talking to a camera and just screen, you have to be a certain person. to say, this gives me joy, and to say, we invite you to communicate back with us so that we can know what type of joy you are receiving from this moment. As Jim has said, it's an hour in my life I can't get back, and it was so well spent.
Right.
What a compliment.
When we hear comments like that from you, it makes our day, because we know that we've had and delivered value to you, and that's really what this is all about. One of the big things that we want to do is create connection, not perfection, when we're doing these things. Live streaming like this or recorded videos, you can edit things out. Oftentimes we leave stuff in because we have fun with it, and it's part of our culture. And that's one of the big points about creating joy in your life, is create the culture in your life, create the mindset of looking for joy, and creating the space for it. And when you that, more than the technology, can help you create the connection with people. And that's part of in the creator toolkit that I just put up there on the screen.
And I want to remind you that we're human. We make mistakes. We have great days and off days. And when you go live like this, we're professional. You can have an off day. You could actually have a headache or a stomach ache, or you could just have, something that's just waiting for you to take care of, and you go live. And we watch people who go live. It's really important, of course, to deliver content and to stay on topic. And if it looks or appears as if we're doing something else, we got our timing down. Like, we know where we're at in terms of timing, but we're human. So there might be a day where the button just doesn't click us on, or we keep, muting ourselves, or we're like, darn, what do you mean I have to do that third time? And we got to catch each other's back. And that's the teamwork of being like really on with someone. Yes, we have an agenda for today to deliver you content, and we want to make sure that we shout out to the people that support us, and may look like we're talking to the same people. We'd love to talk to you if we haven't mentioned you. So please, give us a shout out back. But remember, we're human, and we do have things that happen to our psyche and our physical well-being that just might throw us off a little bit. So be forgiving. Adrian with Yoga with Adrian says, just relax a little bit, like cut yourself some slack. And I'm not saying to cut us some slack, but if you don't know how to give some slack to someone else, you don't know how to give it to yourself. So be kind.
I always say, show yourself, and I say this to patients in the office all the time, show yourself the same compassion and empathy at least show yourself the same compassion and empathy that you would show to somebody else who is going through the same thing.
That's sort of the other side of treat others as you would like others to treat you, right? I feel like that's an important part of think about when you're with someone. And we know you have off days too.
Of course.
We totally understand that. And when you're communicating on screen like this, when you're communicating on camera like this with people, things can be misunderstood because sometimes there is no real way to elaborate. So I recommend that you go a little bit deeper when you're using technology to go to another depth of understanding. Don't just jump to a conclusion. If you're not sure about something and you're here with us, put a cue, do whatever you want to do, put a question, let us know what's on your mind, because we want to deepen the relationship with you. We're talking about joy, right? We're talking about how you become joyful. Well, ask people, are you joyful? What do we have to do? What can we do to deliver for you so that you can say, I am going to spend another hour of my time with BU Network on Facebook Live, or maybe go catch us in our Patreon page, or wherever you'd like to go and get us. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll leave that to you, Dr. Energy.
Sure. So before we get into that, let's just tie a little bow up on creating joy in the journey, and then we can take some questions. So if you have questions, please put a Q in front of them in the comments and let us know. So by putting a Q in front of it, it's easier for us to scroll back through the comments so we can pick them out and answer them live for you. So creating the joy in the journey is really a conscious choice. We have the power within us, if you will, to choose the perspective and the lens through which we see the world. So if we make a decision, a choice to find and create the joy in the journey, what do you think we are going to start perceiving in the world? Right, more joy and more opportunities to practice joy. People often say to me, I just want to experience more love in the world. And then my question is to them as well, are you sharing that love in the world as well? They're like, no, I just want to receive the love. I'm like, well, you need to give the love in order to receive love as well. If you would like to get some love, share it. If you want to receive joy, give joy, or be joyful is even better. So being is better than doing. Be the love, be the joy, be the laughter, be the excitement. And you will start to see that more in the world. People will respond to you differently. Every time we make a decision to experience something more in our life, we are probably actually going to be placed or attract situations to ourselves that require us to expand our ability to be love, to be joy. So we may actually end up seeing more difficult people that are quote unquote hard to love. We may experience more situations that are somewhat more challenging to find and experience joy in, so that we can expand our comfort zone of joy and being able to be present in that moment and find the joy, the love, etc. in that moment.
I would like to mention 3 things.
Okay.
Put in a bow. Set the agenda, set the stage, set the tone. For those of you who like to take notes, for those of you left brain thinkers who say, tell me what you said.
Get your pen out.
Okay, set an agenda. Set the stage, set the tone. Pretty much this is what we're doing here. We have a timed agenda. We're setting the stage by warming up to our audience, having our audience warm up to us, giving recognition and acknowledgement. We're setting the tone. We brought a little bit of our own personal likes and dislikes and personal requirements into this conversation. And we want to deliver value to you and a place to be together so that we can have this conversation.
On that note, I think we should wrap it up and call it a day. What do you think?
Thank you, Dr. Energy. I think we've said it all, and I think that you are amazing. And I have 6 minutes for you to show me what you just did. So let's wrap it up and go show me what you have to tell
Catherine
me.
wants to see it. So we'll see everybody next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes,
See
it
you
is.
on the other side.
Ciao.